Greetings and welcome to Snapshot Research Brief. I'm Dr. Frank Renito from the Institute for Digital Transformation.
And I am Hans Giller from the 𝐒𝐿𝐵 Company. We're here to discuss our Snapshot research, which is innovative research capturing the current state of mind of the digital professional.
Our first snapshot looked at the state of digital readiness. Here at the Institute, we talk a great deal about readiness. How a sports team practices to be ready for a game, how a military unit trains to be ready for a mission, how an organization should be ready for a transformation. The Institute has defined a digital enterprise readiness framework that identifies 4 key dimensions that determine your organization's readiness to become a digital enterprise. First is operational sustainability. Does your organization have a stable base to operate from? Second, organizational agility. How quickly can your organization react to change? Third, strategic agility. How well does your organization anticipate change? And finally, a disruptive culture. How receptive is your organization to change? This snapshot summarized the Institute's readiness framework down to 5 key questions. The findings were quite interesting.
Yes, Frank, they were. Let's review the 3 brutal facts from the snapshot. A majority of digital leaders do not think they will succeed with digital transformation. What we have seen the last couple of years is that digital leaders define digital transformation from an internal perspective with focus on automation with the purpose of reducing cost. In this case, they don't really address the true challenges of digitalization in the society with changing customer behavior, for example. So they don't really set the right atmosphere or prerequisites for companies to be successful.
Right.
In other words, focus on leadership, culture, responsiveness, creativity, and agility. Therefore, large investments in automation will not give the necessary business benefits, and it actually jeopardizes the success of digital transformation. We can also view this from a psychological dimension, where low levels of confidence among digital leaders is quite remarkable, that 46% of them do not really believe that they will be successful. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, I found that really interesting, that piece of data. That's very interesting. They don't think they'll be successful. That's fascinating.
Yeah, definitely. And what does this come from, and what does it do with the organization itself? And that's something we will probably explore in a later snapshot research coming soon. A second fact that we gathered from the snapshot was really that the majority of companies and organizations are unable to react to unplanned market changes. And what we can see is that the magnitude and frequency of these disruptive trends will increase over time. And it is the purpose of many companies today to actually respond and address these in the best possible way, in a fast manner. We talked to a telecom company a couple of months ago and asked them how long was their time to respond, the lead time to respond to a digital trend. We asked them, what if a digital company would come into your market and set up a new service that would compete with your ones? And they would say it would take 18 to 24 months.
Wow.
We know that the digital companies will actually develop and launch a new service every 4 to 6 months, meaning that they can launch 3 to 4 services, generation of services, while the telecom company can do it at one time, responding to the first service. In this case, they will actually create a temporary monopoly and actually make the telecom company out of business, which is really interesting.
Yes, very disruptive.
Very disruptive, and this is something we see with the coronavirus today as well, that the successful companies are those that are prepared and ready for these kind of changes.
Right. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we cover that in a later snapshot, and we're really interested to see what that data looks like.
Definitely, and this is something I think is worth exploring more, because I think this is actually addressing the true challenges of digitalization. Digitalization is not about the flow of information or automation, but actually being more relevant and competitive in this fast-moving market. The third basic fact that we have gathered is that the majority of digital leaders experience low communication and collaboration within the company. And this is quite remarkable. Digital transformation is a continuous change of all aspects within the company and organization. And actually, to anchor the meaning and purpose of the digital transformation is probably the most important quality or purpose for the leaders today, to build the momentum and energy for change. And unfortunately, most organizations, the leader's message gets diluted when it's cascading down an organization and results in a lot of frustration, loss of commitment, and confusion. If we look, for example, at the Gallup research, it states that only 14% of employees of Western companies are engaged at work. And how can you actually run a transformation with only 14% of the employees engaged? And most of this is due to a lack of clear leadership and lack of communication.
Yeah.
And what we see also is that the digital companies have an engagement level probably 5 times that level, meaning that digitalization and digital competitiveness becomes a battle of culture and employer engagement, where they actually can create creativity, drive, and change within the company in a very fast manner.
Yeah. Well, you ask the question how to run a transformation with 14% of employees engaged. I assume that's a rhetorical question. So speaking of rhetorical questions, we must ask ourselves, why would organizations continue to implement digital solutions under these circumstances? A McKinsey survey identified 1/3 of the barriers to transformation were caused by cultural and behavioral challenges. Most of the challenges point to the fact that the organization was not prepared to endure the stress of a transformation. That same study shows that cultural obstacles correlate clearly with negative economic performance. That's a big, big deal. Clearly, organizations should be nervous, right? That nervousness translates to heightened awareness, the awareness that not being ready for transformation is a formula for failure. The evidence shows that. I sometimes ask customers this rhetorical question. You have the time and money to do it twice, but you don't have the time and money to do it right. So if the evidence shows that being ready is important, then as critical thinkers, we're obligated to consider it.
Yeah, definitely. And what we have done also is to look at why are some companies more successful than others when it comes to this digital transformation. And it's a clear trend that being ready for change, for this digital transformation, is one of the key success factors. We can foresee quite early whether a company will succeed or not, related to leadership and culture. Well, that's all the time we have. Please join us next time when we do our next Snapshot research brief. I'm Hans 𝐒𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐫𝐢𝐻.
And I'm Dr. Frank Ranito. See you next time on Snapshot Research Brief.